In the ending cutscene to the tomb, there was something that on initial watch I actually missed. I picked it up a little bit after that, but I was too busy to make a video on it, but here I am now. And I think this stuff could be very significant on the story going forward, and it could answer a question that we've had since launch. But what it is towards the end of this cutscene, where the Sam AI is showing us where our next map is going to be, the mansion. As it zooms into that map, we actually could stop and look at some words that pop up on the corner of the screen. And what these words are insta-kill, fire sale, max ammo, and full power. And obviously these are power-ups. And these popping up may not seem significant to you, but keep in mind this is an ending cutscene, and everything else that was shown in this ending cutscene was significant. Whether it be the documents or visuals that were shown to us, all of it was important, but then randomly power-ups just pop up. There has to be more to that. And to really understand what these could really mean is that we have to understand what we're seeing during this ending cutscene, because obviously these aren't real things. And instead what this is kind of a glimpse into the mind of the Sam AI. All the visuals that are shown to us are created virtually by her. So these things all exist in her mind. So why exactly are the power-ups popping up here? I mean, an easy way to explain this is that she's been watching our characters fight through the zombies and she sees the power-ups, so she just takes notes of them, question them, but I think it might be a bit more than that. Because alongside this, we've had a question since launch, and what that was is, who's even giving our characters the power-ups? And this is a continuous question that we've always had in zombies, and eventually gets answered. In the original story, it was rather Dr. Monty or the Shadow Man, and then in Cold War, it was the Forsaken, but this time around, all of those beings we don't think are currently in a position to do any of that right now, right? So it has to be something else here. And this may give us our first hint at who's behind these power-ups. And obviously, with it being in the mind of the Sam AI, I mean, all signs seem to be pointing towards that it is the Sam AI who is giving us these power-ups. And I mean, it would make sense considering that we're literally doing her bidding throughout all of these maps. We're getting the Sentinel artifact and going to bring it back to her. Like, we're doing exactly what she wants. So it doesn't make sense that she would give us power-ups to help us stay alive. I mean, I think so, but that's not enough, because why would she have the power to actually give us these power-ups to begin with? Because all the other beings that we've talked about who gave us power-ups were very powerful beings. Well, I think there's also an explanation for this too. Because if you guys bring your minds back to the final map of the Cold War season, Forsaken, in that ending cutscene, we actually see that when we defeat the Forsaken, it just doesn't die. Instead, Richtofen captures the essence of the Forsaken and captures it in this orb, and then takes it back to that mansion. And this is the same exact mansion where the Sam AI was, and also Richtofen. But as we saw through the intro of Liberty Falls, we actually see that the Sam AI takes control of this orb, this Forsaken orb. And this means that she probably has the power of the Forsaken. And what did the Forsaken do? Well, it was the one giving us power-ups in the previous game, so potentially she has that exact same power. But still, there's more to this, because something that was also a question since launch is the announcer for these power-ups. Because weirdly enough, the announcer that we hear for the power-ups in Black Ops 6 is the same exact announcer from Cold War. And that doesn't make sense, because the announcer in Cold War was the Forsaken, but for some reason, of being that is supposedly dead is the same announcer in this game. What's going on there? And I mean, if you don't believe me, let me play you them back to back.
The amulet somehow channeled an echo from the past. So close to me.
But why is it still the Forsaken's voice? Well, I think it has everything to do with that Forsaken orb that the Sam AI currently controls. And I really think it's one of a few possibilities. And the first one is that the Sam AI has the power of the Forsaken and probably has maybe even the memories and voice of the Forsaken, and she doesn't want us to know that she's the one behind the power-ups, so she's just using the voice of the Forsaken to cover for her. That is completely possible and is the easier explanation. But I wonder if it's something a bit more here. I wonder if the Forsaken is really dead inside of that orb, and potentially what if he's not? Because this would be very significant, because what if when the Sam AI overtook the Forsaken orb, that there was still some of the Forsaken in there, and instead of just giving complete control of its power, it now has potentially some influence over the SAM AI, or at least corrupted the SAM AI to an extent. Because to us, we have no reason to believe the SAM AI would be evil, right? It's based on Samantha Max's, which we don't think is evil. But what if the reason why it became evil and is going to betray us and do potentially some evil in the upcoming map, the mansion? Then it would make sense because it may be having some sort of corruption, influence, or been straight up taken over by the Forsaken. It would also explain why the Forsaken's voice is still there for the power-ups. And if this is true, this is humongous, because we assume the Forsaken was dead. And if he's not, that is humongous, because the Forsaken is incredibly powerful. He took over the entire Dark Ether in his time there. That's how powerful this guy is. He defeated the older ones and all the other beings that existed in the Dark Ether before him. And if he finds a way to escape that orb and maybe just do his final plan or whatever, I think that could change everything. But that's a big if. Because I myself, I'm not entirely sold that the Forsaken is still alive in that orb. To me, I think that at most, the SAM AI was corrupted by the Forsaken's essence, or she's just using the Forsaken's voice. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on everything we've talked about here in this video. Let me know in the comment section below. Regardless though, that's going to wrap it for me. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.